Hare Krishna. Today we are going to revise chapter number 17 of Bhagavad Gita, and it is titled Shraddha Traya Vibhag Yoga, or Divisions of Faith. And it's also titled Yoga through Discerning the Three Types of Faith. Before we start this chapter in detail, let's do some Guru Vandana. ओम अज्ञानतिर्मन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। सर्वप्रथम मेरे दीक्षा गुरु श्री भक्ति वेदांत नारायण महाराज जी को मेरा दंडवत प्रणाम। तत्पश्चात मेरे सारे शिक्षा गुरु को दंडवत प्रणाम। तत्पश्चात सभी वैष्णवों को और जो इस रिकॉर्डिंग को सुन रहे हो गुरु भाई और गुरु बहनों को मेरा दंडवत यथा योग्य दंडवत प्रणाम। Before we start in detail about this chapter number 17, let's understand what we had discussed towards the end of the chapter number 16. There we had learned that the people who worship Bhagwan Ji according to the scriptures, they are known as divine. And the people who do not worship according to the scriptures are of the demonic nature. Now, towards the end of this thing, then a question arises in the mind of Arjun. And in the beginning of chapter number 17, in the first shlok, Arjun asks a question from Krishna Bhagwan Ji. And he asks him that what is the nature of the persons who do worshipping but not according to the scriptures? What is their faith? Is it according to goodness? Is it according to passion? Or is it according to ignorance? Now he recollects, Arjun recollects what Bhagwan Ji told in chapter number 14, the three modes of nature. To this, Krishna Bhagwan Ji then replies that everybody has faith and they worship according to that. Everybody worships according to goodness, passion, or ignorance, and according to the impression that have been built up over the number of years in the past. So whatever good things and bad things they have done in the past, the impressions are built up. Accordingly, they worship the deities according to goodness, passion, or ignorance. Now the people who are in goodness, now Bhagwanji talks about the three modes of nature and what is the worshipping that they do. The people who are in goodness, they worship the devtas, demigods, because their nature is according to the demigods. And the people who are in passion, they worship the rakshas and the yakshas, because their nature is according to the yakshas and the rakshas. And the people who are in ignorance, they worship the ghosts, they worship the spirits, because their nature is according to ghosts and spirits. So, having said this about worshipping, then Bhagwanji then talks about that people do various austerities according to the three modes of nature. And they do not follow the scriptures, but they still do some worshipping and they perform various austerities. And this is very painful to their own body. And it is also painful to Bhagwanji himself, who is living inside the body of the human being. Because they are not worshipping according to the scriptures, all these austerities are of no relevance. It will not lead to liberation. It's of no use. The Bhagwanji then goes further and then talks about the food, the three types of food that is eaten, what is the faith, and what food do these people eat, the people who are in goodness, people who are in passion, and people who are in ignorance. And this is mentioned in Shlok number 8. And Shlok number 8, Bhagwan Ji mentions about the food. He says, food that one increases the lifespan of a person, And the person who is in enthusiasm, strength, and health, happiness, and satisfaction, and which are juicy, fattening, sustaining, and pleasing to the mind, are dear to the persons who are in goodness. So, this is the type of food that they eat, which is juicy, fattening, sustaining, and pleasing to the mind. And the people who are in passion, they eat bitter, sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, or burning food, and which give rise to pain, misery, and disease. And they are liked, such type of food is liked by people who are in passion. And the food type of food which is eaten by the people who are in ignorance, this is mentioned, they are pleased by food cooked more than 3 hours before being eaten, by food that is cold, which is foul smelling, tasteless, and stale. And they love such food, and that is very, very impure. So Bhagwanji talks about the types of food. Then Bhagwanji further talks about the sacrifices. That a person does a lot of sacrifices. Now let's understand the three modes of nature. Person doing sacrifices in goodness, person doing sacrifices in passion, and person doing sacrifices in ignorance. So first thing is mentioned in the shlok number 11. It says the performance of sacrifice is very necessary. When sacrifice is executed in accordance with such firm resolution of the mind within the directions of scriptural injunction and without expectation of reward, very important. No reward is expected, and it is according to the scriptures. That is in the mode of goodness. Such sacrifices are in the mode of goodness. And what about the people who are in passion? Here, Bhagwanji says, the sacrifice that is executed with the desire for its fruit and that is performed to glorify oneself is governed by the quality of passion. And for the persons and ignorance sacrifices, what does Bhagwanji says about that? That is mentioned in Shlok number 13. It says, the sacrifice in which in the injections of the scripture are disregarded. Scriptures को follow ही नहीं कर because they consider themselves to be very powerful. Lust, they have wealth, or they do not want to believe in the scriptures at all for some reason or other, because of their ego, because of their false impressions that they can do everything. They have no sanctified foods, or and they do not even offer foods to the Brahmins or charity to the Brahmins, and no Vedic mantras are chanted, and no gifts are also given to the priests, and which is performed without any faith. And these are the sacrifices which is influenced by the people who are in ignorance. Now, going further, now Bhagwanji then talks about the austerities. Now, Bhagwanji talks about the austerities and then he talks, distribute, he demarcates it, austerity of body, austerity of speech, and austerity of the mind. And this is mentioned in Shlok number 14 to Shlok number 16. And it is mentioned about the body, austerity of the body, austerity. Let's understand what is the meaning of austerity. Austerity means doing all those disciplined spiritual practice or sadhana that purifies the body and mind of anything that prevents or blocks connection with the Bhagwanji. So all the disciplined and spiritual practices or sadhana that purifies the mind and the body is austerity. So when a person does austerity of the body, which consists of offering respect to the demigods, to the Brahmins, to one's guru, and to learned person. Such people are also in cleanliness, they are honest, they perform celibacy, and non-violence, and are also doing all the body austerities. They are the people in goodness. Now, austerities of the speech, austerities of the speech that cause no agitation and that are truthful, pleasing, and beneficial, as well as reciting the Vedas, are all said to be the austerities of the speech. And now the austerities of the mind. The austerities of the mind, Bhagavanji says, it consists of satisfaction, simplicity, silence, maintaining mental discipline, and non-duplicitous behavior. Now, further, Bhagavanji talks about this threefold austerity performed with a great faith and one pointed attention by those who are free from desire and remuneration is said to be by the persons governed in quality and goodness. So it's very important. Do not expect anything in return. Whatever austerities you are doing, do it according to the scriptures. Do not expect any reward, any remuneration, any expectations. That is in the mode of goodness. And then Bhagavanji says, austerity that is performed out of foolish obstinacy and that gives pain to oneself or intended to cause another's ruin is known to be governed by the quality of darkness. So Bhagavanji then talks about austerity that is performed with pride and for the sake of recognition, honor, and adoration is said to be governed by the quality of passion. It's only temporary and its benefits are always uncertain because you are expecting glorifications, you're expecting some returns. So here Bhagwanji has mentioned about the austerity of the body, austerity of the speech, austerity of the mind, and then he has described the austerity in goodness, then he has described austerity in passion, and then austerity in ignorance. Then going further, Bhagwanji talks about charity, how the three modes of nature affect the faith of a person who is in goodness and who is in passion and who does charity in ignorance. So let's understand this is given in shlok number 20 onwards. Charity is to be given to one who cannot return it at a holy place at an auspicious time and to a worthy person. Charity given with the resolve is considered to be governed by the quality of goodness. So very important, very clearly mentioned by Bhagwanji that the charity is to be given in a holy place at an auspicious time and to a worthy person. Such charity without expectations is in the mode of goodness. Now let us understand what is in the mode of passion. The charity which is offered with the expectation of some remuneration or which is given unnecessary is said to be governed by the quality of passion. So here he says there is an expectation that you will give me some or the other form of returns. I don't want to give examples so you can understand very much. Charity donations given, school, colleges, right, hospitals, and lay down my statue. I will give such and such donation. Like do me favor, I'll do this. So these are all in mode of passion, charity. And the charity which is given is an impure place. It is given at an impure place and an improper time at an improper time to an unworthy recipient in a mode of contempt and disrespect is said to be governed by the quality of ignorance. So Bhagwanji has described the faith of a person with respect to worship. He has described with respect to austerities, with respect to food, with respect to sacrifices, and with respect to charity. Now, a person who does all these activities, he is bound to, commit some or the other mistakes. because he is a human being. So, what is the way out? So, from Shlok number 23 to 27, Bhagwan Ji gives a solution how to deal with this worshipping. That even if you are doing it in goodness, passion, or ignorance, all this worshipping, so how the mistakes can be compensated? What do we do? So he says, do Nam Jap, utter the word Om Tat Sat. He has emphasized a lot about this word Om Tat Sat. Om is considered to be the replica of the truth, Brahma, and Tat is about the liberation, expecting liberations without expecting any remuneration and doing according to the scriptures. And Sat is performing all austerities, all charities, all eating food correctly, and doing all the sacrifices as per the scriptures without expectations of any returns, right? Performed at the right time and with full faith and with the direction of the gurus. That is Sat. So we have understood the meaning of Om Tat Sat. Utter the word Om Tat Sat every now and then. In the ancient time, people used to start with Om with every pious activities. So Om Tat Sat and Nam Jap is prescribed. And when you continue to utter these words, when you continue to do Nam Jap, all your faults will be taken care of. Whatever mistakes you may do, whatever improper things may happen, unintentionally or intentionally, they will all be ignored. But under the guidance of a Gurudev. So that is about Om Tat Sat. Sat we have understood. Now, towards the last shlok of the chapter, Bhagavan talks about what is Asat. Any activity of worshipping, whether in goodness, passion, or ignorance, whatever it is done, no matter how much Nam Jap, etc., you are doing it. If faith in Bhagwan Ji is not there, if faith in scriptures is not there, if faith in Gurudev is not there, it's of no use. That is asat, of no use. So to conclude in this chapter, what we have learned, that first of all, we should go to a Tattvajnani Gurudev, learn whatever he says, do seva of him, ask him all the questions, serve him, and then go to Bhagwan Ji. And then we will be liberated. So very, very important. Remain in the association of devotees, remain under the guidance of a Gurudev, and then keep on worshipping Bhagwan Ji. And according to the scriptures, according to the directions given by Gurudev, that is the ultimate aim, that is the ultimate prayojan of ours. So that is the end of chapter number 17. Thank you very much. And that was the second last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We will now be going towards the last chapter, 18 of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much for being with me. Hare Krishna.